A common piece of advice you always see given to men that struggle with dating is just get a hobby. Focus on yourself and just get a hobby. Just find a hobby you're passionate about and focus on your hobby because women love guys with hobbies. And I think there is some truth to the whole notion that women are attracted to men that have hobbies, but not all hobbies are seen equally in the eyes of women. In fact, some hobbies are downright repulsive to women. So today, I'm going to be ranking unattractive hobbies by how effective they are at repelling women. So hobbies in the S tier are the most repulsive to women, and hobbies in the F tier are less repulsive. Okay, so to get things started, let's talk about one of the most popular hobbies in the world. Something that millions upon millions of men use as their primary pastime. Gaming. I don't think it's controversial at all to say that women see gaming as an unattractive hobby, but at the same time, gaming is pretty mainstream now, to the point that most men under the age of 40 play games at least sometimes. And it really depends on what type of games you're playing. Like if all you play is NBA 2K and Call of Duty, then it's still not seen as an attractive hobby, but most women aren't going to care that much because those are normie games that most normal guys have at least tried out at some point. But if you spend all your time on MMORPGs like World of Warcraft, or if you're really into PlayStation JRPGs or something like that, then what can I say? Women find you repulsive, they hate you, and they're scared of you. And I know that sounds harsh, but that's just the facts. So when it comes time for you to do your yearly playthrough of Breath of Fire 3, think again. Maybe you ought to play Madden instead. Or go ahead and do what you want to do, but just know that there isn't a woman in the world that's going to be impressed with your knowledge of how to recruit all 108 stars of destiny in Suikoden 2. But yeah, if we're just speaking in general terms, for the average gamer that mostly just plays whatever games are popular at the moment, women are not gonna like it. But for the most part, they at least accept it. So gaming goes in the C tier. So this next one might come as a surprise to some of you since we usually think of sports and athleticism as being something that women do find attractive. But if your hobby is an uncool sport, something that wouldn't even be televised on ESPN2, like Ultimate Frisbee or kickball, then women are just gonna think you're a massive dork. And I mean, it makes sense if you think about it. Like, if you were actually athletic, you'd probably be playing baseball or football or basketball or something, not kickball. And it's really unintuitive, but even if you're really good at an uncool sport, like even if you're like a semi-professional long-distance cyclist, women are actually going to perceive you as less masculine than a man with a beer gut that spends all his time watching college football. And I would still encourage any man listening to this to keep playing your sport of choice, whatever it is, because at least you're still getting some exercise. But keep in mind that women are not going to be impressed by your athletic prowess, and they might even see you as a weak, pathetic little dweeb, even if you're like really, really good at badminton. And since I know y'all are curious, here's a list of sports that women find utterly repulsive. Cycling, kickball, pickleball, disc golf, ultimate frisbee, racquetball, handball, hacky sack, astrojacks, badminton, high-a-lie, rollerblading, taekwondo, wall ball, goose chase, juggling, and CPAC to craw. There's more than that, but that's all I can think of for now. Uncool sports are a B-tier hobby that repels women. Okay, so now I want to talk about a hobby that, if I'm being 100% honest, it's probably my biggest hobby, and it has been for most of my life. So you already know this is some real true cell shit I'm about to talk about. And I'm not even going to waste any of your time. I'm telling you straight up, this next hobby is a capital S tier. If you use loser social media like Discord, Reddit, or the worst of all, old school V-Bulletin forums, you don't even have to say anything. You are a loser and a virgin, and women puke when they smell you coming. Now, I know Reddit and even Discord now are pretty mainstream, so if you look at some hobby subreddits from time to time, or say you have a private Discord with a few of your real life friends, then this isn't about you. But if you actually spend a significant amount of time browsing Reddit, or God forbid, if you act as a moderator on any subreddits, just pack it in. It's over. And it never even began. You will never ascend, etc., etc. And there's really no use even telling you this because if you're a Discord moderator, then you're already too far gone. Nothing could save you at this point. And I'm actually not a huge Reddit or Discord user, but I have been a big time forum user for a long time. It started back when I was like 11 years old browsing video game and anime forums, and when I say a long time ago, I mean this was a while back, okay? I'm talking like Easy Boards, V-Bulletin, PHP-BB type of thing, If you know, you know. Eventually, I moved on to bigger and better things, and that's when I became a daily user of the MISC. You aware? Again, if you know, you know, and if you don't, then that's a good thing. That means maybe one day you'll be able to convince a girl to hold hands with you. So, yeah, if you ever want to have even a sliver of a chance at attracting a woman, stay off of loser social media. S tier. Okay, so loser social media is an S tier repulsive hobby, but what about regular social media? Like Instagram, TikTok, and stuff like that. Well, it really depends, but in general, social media use is seen as a feminine hobby, so if that's how you choose to spend your free time, women probably aren't gonna see you as a viable mate. You might make a good gay best friend, though. And by the way, I'm talking about browsing social media. So if you have like 20,000 followers on Instagram, then I don't know, that could just be because you're really good looking or something. So that's not what I'm talking about here. But if you spend all day watching Reels and TikTok slop, then, well, hey, my mom wants to know if you have any good mascara recommendations. But seriously, you might as well just watch anime at this point because women find you repulsive and feminine. B tier. Speaking of anime, let's talk about it. Now, I'm sure before you even clicked on this video, you already knew watching anime would be on the list, because even though anime continues to get more and more mainstream, it's still considered to be one of the archetypical loser hobbies. And it's not really fair to lump all anime together in the same bucket, because there's a big difference in, say, enjoying a Studio Ghibli movie versus salivating over JoJo's Bizarre Adventure concept art. But regardless of that, spending your free time watching anime is not gonna do you any favors when it comes to attracting women. And really, the main problem is women see it as juvenile and immature. I mean, they're probably right, but I'm just saying. However, with all that said, it is true that anime is pretty popular now, even with normies, and there's actually a lot of girls that are really into anime, and some of those girls might be able to tolerate a man that's also really into anime. But not all of them. So I'm putting anime in the C tier, which is actually not as bad as I thought it'd be at first, but I don't know, after thinking about it some more, because, I do want to give all you anime fans a fair shake, I figured, I changed my mind again. A tier, final answer. Alright, next up is nerd collectibles. So that's anything like Funko Pops, Amiibos, Marvel figurines, or whatever. But I'm not including trading card games here, because that's going to be its own category. But anyway, yeah, collecting Funko Pops is one of the most grotesque consumerist activities that can even be conceived of. And I know I myself am far from perfect, so I try not to judge, but seriously, if you collect Funko Pops, you should stop doing that immediately and start collecting razor blades instead. But you really only need one, and you should use it too. To shave your face, because I know you got a disgusting neckbeard going on. And I do understand the impulse to collect things. I actually used to collect something similar to Funko Pops when I was a kid, but thankfully I grew out of it. And I don't even really know if collecting things is the actual thing that repels women, or if it's just that the type of men that tend to collect things also tend to have other repulsive traits. So it's kind of a chicken or the egg situation. But nevertheless, collecting Funko Pops goes in the S tier because it really is just a mathematical fact that the number of Funko Pops you own is directly proportional to the number of women you've made ill with your appearance. So now let's talk about something a little bit different. And this is something I personally struggle with, so trust me, I know what I'm talking about here. And I don't want my channel to get demonetized, so I'll just say it like this. The hobby I'm talking about involves setting flowers on fire and breathing in the smoke. You know, like the thing Cheech and Chong like to do. So this hobby does repel a lot of women, but there's also a sizable group of women that don't really care. And there's even a small subset of women that find this hobby attractive because I guess they see it as cool and rebellious or something. So it's not the most repulsive hobby you could have, and if you're just rotting in your room living the neat lifestyle, I mean, go ahead and do what you want. But if you want to actually find a respectable woman someday, or I don't know, if you somehow just end up being a single father without ever touching a woman, then I recommend staying away from this hobby. Because anyone that says demotivational syndrome is just a myth, well, they're a moron. But yeah, I'm putting this one in the D tier because a lot of women don't care, but the women that do find it repulsive tend to be of higher quality, so keep that in mind. Back in the 80s, there was a hit song by Cyndi Lauper called Girls Just Wanna Have Fun. And you know what? That's true. It really is. And if you've ever tried talking to a girl about deeper topics like philosophy or politics on anything more than just a very basic surface level, then I'm sure you already know, but girls think that shit is nerdy and repulsive. And I know lots of women say that they crave deep philosophical discussion, but when a woman says she wants to have a deep discussion, she's talking about Jaden Smith tier discussion like, whoa, isn't it crazy how the stars we see in the sky are like already dead? Or she'll want to talk about like her Myers-Briggs personality type or something. By the way, the repulsive hobby we're talking about here is philosophy, politics, and debate. But yeah, I don't care if you literally meet a girl in your graduate level modern philosophy or political science class, but I promise you, you're not going to get very far with her if you insist on explaining to her your personal critique of Nicomachean ethics. But for what it's worth, there are a decent number of pseudo-intellectual women out there that really, really want to be taken seriously. So I guess if you're lucky, one of them might put up with you enough to put out for you, just so she can feel smart for a day. So that's something. It's not much, but it's something. So studying philosophy or politics, and especially if you think of yourself as some kind of master debater, it's just gonna make women think you're a gross, stinky nerd. But maybe you can have some success with an insecure bookworm bitch. D tier. Up next is a category I like to refer to as autism hobbies. And basically this is any kind of special interest hobby that tends to be associated with male autists. So think like model trains, model airplanes, ham radio, you know, that sort of thing. I think you all know what I'm talking about here. And actually, I thought about making Warhammer its own category, but honestly, if collecting and painting miniature space marines isn't an autism hobby, then I don't know what the hell is. So listen up, 40K fans, we're talking about you. Now, I can totally understand the appeal of just getting really obsessive about one specific thing, because, hey, I've been there before. And no, I'm not going to tell you what my special interest was. I don't care how much you torture me. But yeah, I get it. And you can still get women while exploring your special autistic interest in your free time, but you just can't let women know about it. I don't care how looks-maxed and suave and stylish you are. If you ever reveal to a woman that you know the difference between a center beam rail car and an intermodal flat car, then it is 100% over for you. Just pack it in, boyo, cause after she's done puking, she'll probably make a post on social media to let everyone know how threatened she felt by your presence. And now you're blacklisted by every woman in a 95-mile radius. So it goes without saying, having any kind of special interest autism hobby is the mental equivalent of wearing light wash Wrangler jeans from Walmart with a braided belt and white Skechers. If women see it, they're turning right around and heading the other way, but not before taking their can of mace out of their purse just in case. But you know what? It's still not as bad as collecting Funko Pops. A tier. Okay, so this next hobby could probably fit into the autism hobby category, but it's a bit more mainstream, so I'm going to consider it separately. Board games and trading card games. Now, if we were specifically just talking about Magic the Gathering, that's an easy S tier. But the field of board games and trading card games is actually really broad, and in my experience, guys that are into the more repulsive games like Magic the Gathering and Gloomhaven usually also enjoy normie games like Cards Against Humanity, although that obviously doesn't go in the other direction. But regardless of which exact board games you're into, if you play board games or any trading card game often, and especially if you collect board games, then I'm sorry to say this, but it's just over out here for you, man. And this one is an especially insidious one because for a man that's into board games, he might think, well, me and my friends have so much fun playing these games, so if I bust out Gloomhaven at the party, all the girls are going to have a great time and I'll be the life of the party. But there's a big flaw in that logic. I mean, you could even replace Gloomhaven in that sentence with a normie-friendly game like Codenames, and it's the same result. Because even if a woman does have fun playing your nerd board game with you and your friends, she's still gonna think that the guy that owns the game is a weird loser. And if that's hard for you to follow, just think of it like this. Women see board games as a childish hobby. She might be able to have fun doing some childish activities with her friends at a party, but she's not going to be attracted to the guy that explained the rules of the game to everyone, because that guy seems to be a little too into the childish game. So he must be an immature loser. And if you're thinking right now, loser maxing, that doesn't make any sense, then you really need to be listening to me, because you obviously don't understand woman logic. And it's nothing to feel bad about. I mean, woman logic is more like a complete and total lack of logic in favor of, like vibes and feelings. So the more autistic you are, the harder it is to understand. And if you know the rules of more than 2 board games without having to look it up, then you're definitely on the spectrum. Board games and trading card games are an A-tier hobby that repels women. This next hobby is a bit different than everything else on this list because if you're actually successful at it, then actually it can be a very attractive hobby. But if you're not successful, then it's extremely unattractive. And 99% of men that do this are not even close to successful. So let's talk about podcasting and content creation. The barrier for entry to pretty much any kind of content creation is almost non-existent these days, especially when it comes to podcasting. All you need is a computer and a microphone. Or really, you could even just use a smartphone, so yeah, pretty much everyone you know already owns all the equipment necessary to start a podcast. And I'm sure whoever you are listening to this, you probably know at least 1 or 2 dudes in your real life that have tried and failed at podcasting or making a YouTube channel. And really, even if you've got a failed podcast in your past, women aren't going to be that repulsed just to know it exists. But for the love of God, do not ever allow a woman you care about to actually listen to your failed podcast. Because look, I know this sounds harsh, but if your podcast or YouTube channel or TikTok or whatever it is failed, then it probably failed for a reason, meaning it probably sucks. And there's nothing more repulsive in a woman's eyes than seeing or listening to a recording of a man failing. So, please just keep your YouTube channel a secret. You don't need to be telling girls about your podcast that averages 4 listeners per episode and earned $0 in ad revenue. She's not going to be impressed by the sound quality or anything, And she's not gonna think any of your pre-written jokes are funny. Just don't do that to yourself. Keep your content creation as far away from women as possible. However, on the flip side, if you have like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube and it's not something cringy like a gaming channel or Black Pill tier list channel, then women will probably be impressed. So yeah, podcasting and content creation goes in the C tier because 99% of the time it's gonna give women the ick. But if you're actually successful, then, it could be a good thing. But while content creation can be an attractive hobby, consuming other creators' content is most certainly not. And specifically, if you watch live streamers, especially video game streamers, women are just gonna be disgusted by you. And watching streamers is even worse than being a gamer yourself because it makes it look like you're just too pathetic to even play games for yourself. Like, the way women see it is they'll assume you want to be playing the games yourself, but you're just too bad at it or something, so you cope by watching streamers instead. And I don't know, call me crazy, but that logic kinda holds up. And it doesn't even have to be video game streamers. In fact, IRL and especially political streamers are probably even worse. I don't think this even needs to be said, but if a woman catches you watching a Destiny or Ice Poseidon stream or anything like that, then it's just over. And I've been speaking kind of hyperbolically throughout most of this video, but seriously, if a woman finds out you watch Destiny streams, she will literally be disgusted by you. And I know there's some quirked up shouties out there that are really big into watching XQC or Hassan Piker or whatever, but even they are repulsed by men that watch streamers. Because it's not like these are watching Hassan Piker for his poignant political takes. So if they find out you watch Hassan streams, then, best case scenario is they think you're gay. But more likely is they'll just think you're a weirdo freak. So yeah, watching streamers, it's a truly pathetic hobby. Women see it that way. So watching streamers goes right up top in the S tier. Alright, so this next one might be kinda unintuitive, but it's really not that crazy when you think about it. It's an unfortunate thing, but even cool hobbies are repulsive to women if you're not good at them. Because really, there's two parts to every attractive hobby that makes it attractive to women. The first part is that it's cool and socially acceptable, and the second part, which is just as important as the first part, is that it's impressive. But there's nothing impressive about, say, playing guitar if you can barely even make it through smoke on the water. Playing baseball is one of the coolest hobbies a guy can have in high school, but if you're a senior on the JV team with a sub 200 batting average, girls are just gonna think you're a joke. And it's actually worse than you'd think, because you might think that women will think, hey, at least he's trying to do something cool. But no, it's not like that at all. Women will actually be offended by you if you're bad at a cool hobby, because to them, it's like you're trying to trick them or something. Like you're trying to masquerade as something that you're not. And not only that, if you're bad at a cool hobby, that means you're just going to be getting constantly mogged by all the guys that are actually good at it. So in comparison to everyone else, you're going to look even worse. So yeah, being bad at a cool hobby is actually surprisingly repulsive to women, more so than you would think. B tier.